Hi, everyone. Welcome to our April GG meetup. We're so excited to have you here with us today, or if you're watching this in the future, wherever you're at, whatever time you're watching this at, we're so excited to have you. And we're so excited this month because not only are we doing the GEGUtah meetup, but at 4:30 or thereabouts, we're going to have the Utah Nearpod community sharing about their new community that just started last month, how to join, but also doing some amazing things with them as well. So make sure you stay to the end and hang out at 4:30 for that as well. Today, to start off with just a couple kind of housekeeping things, reminders for this month. First things first is if you haven't seen it yet, our brand new GEGUtah April newsletter is up and ready to watch or read. That is up on the link that is at the bottom of the screen, scrolling by smore.com/6WF2V, or you can just look up GEGUtah and it's on our homepage of our website. It's got lots of material in there, including links to this month's meetup, so April 20th, 2022, but also in a couple weeks, our May 4th meetup, which is kind of Star Wars themed, but also design thinking themed. Ian Davey is going to walk us through a really cool challenge for design sprint. And then also we're going to have GEGUtah, which is a Utah-based math company, come and talk about their work with Google. So make sure you join us on May 4th. So all of that is in our newsletter, along with some great stuff from UEN, some great stuff from our PCBL and technology series that's been going on for the last few weeks. And then also just a daily resource reminder that we send out every day, a resource from GEGUtah that's Google oriented that we can make sure that you are fully supported. So with that said, today I'm super excited. We have a couple of, this has been a weird week. Not everyone was able to be here this week as far as leadership goes. There's a lot of spring breaks happening, but luckily this week we have the amazing Deanna and the amazing Kelly. How we doing, guys?
Hey, we're doing great. It's great.
And you guys were nice enough to come out, even though it is spring break in your district, which is, thank you so much. We very much appreciate you for that. Today, what we're going to be doing is sharing our amazing videos from the demo slam at USET, which I was there live for. Deanna, were you there live?
No, I wasn't. I was actually, I think, pretty close to presenting at the time or just getting through.
Oh,
So,
gotcha. And I know Kelly was because Kelly's video is in there along with mine, right?
Yep, I was. I'm excited to see it again.
Absolutely. Well, I'm not excited to see mine because I hate seeing my face on screen, but that's a whole different ball game. Something I have to deal with on the daily as a video producer. But so before we get into those though, let's just do. We haven't met since before USET. I just want to go around really quickly. What was your favorite thing about USET this year? What was the favorite like tip or trick that you picked up at the conference?
You want to go first, Deanna?
yeah. I was just thinking about it. Mine was I went into actually all of the sessions that we had for Google were phenomenal. They really did a great job. Really learned some new crazy fun things that I didn't know about with the Google and Chromebooks and stuff like that. And the other thing was one that I walked into from Nebo District about using literacy centers, but using Google Slides to create their interactive literacy centers. And that was pretty fun too.
That sounds really cool. Like Google Slides and like I'm guessing students are sharing to do their literacy centers, that sort of thing.
Actually, the teachers have their literacy centers in there and they have like a Bitmoji classroom, and then the kids can link on and do like a weekly or a daily exercise where they can go to and they can differentiate. And it was pretty cool to see what they're doing down there. It was cool.
That sounds incredible.
Yeah.
Like I'm guessing elementary level.
Elementary, yes.
Fantastic.
Elementary, and then yeah. But it was phenomenal to watch what they did and what they had put together. It was really fun.
Awesome.
That's
Kelly, what
cool.
did you see that blew your mind?
Nice. Oh, well, it was really great to see a lot of people that I've never met in real life. And so that was exciting to kind of come and see people and see, like, Matt, I had no idea how tall you were. That was fun. And also, I think as far as like tips and tricks, I don't want to spoil too much of the demo slam, but I think that Ian Davies' presentation on paperless Google Docs, that blew my mind. And I feel like that'll be really useful for websites. in the future. Like if I want to create something. And then also I really enjoyed Deanna's presentation on breakout rooms. She had a really cool St. Patrick's Day one that I used with my students, and they really liked that. And I know when we were in the presentation, there were lots of people saying, we'll Venmo you money, Deanna, if you just give us this stuff you've made. So
they did.
That was exciting too. So I think overall, just some really fun, cool things that I learned.
Yeah,
That's
thank you,
amazing.
Kelly. I appreciate that.
I'll Venmo you $20 for that breakdown later.
You get them anyway. You just have to email me.
Deanna, can I start presenting with you? I'd like to have people throwing money at me while I'm presenting.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. Everybody, we'll do it.
There's a great picture on the line, by the way, of the three of us with Emma, who was also in the leadership here at GEGUtah at USET, and it's kind of like a bar graph. Everyone's about the same height, and then they get to me, and then it continues on. That's my life. My favorite thing, I didn't get to a lot of sessions. I did spend a lot of time in the Google room doing the GEGUtah meetup was fantastic, and like seeing people that I've never met in real life again, like Deanna and Kelly that we've only worked with, that I've only worked with virtually, was just fantastic. And seeing the teachers was amazing. But I did get to one session because she was a former student of mine in the EdTech program here at UEN, and she's a music teacher in Jordan School District here in Utah, and she did music and technology, and in the middle of it she rapped a Dr. Seuss book on top of Eminem freestyle, and it blew the top off the room, which was already like standing room only, and it was just incredible. So like I walked out of there just kind of slow clapping down the hall at her, like she was incredible. So a very cool conference this year.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of the conference, let's get into our meet today, which is sharing our demo slam, which is a USET tradition for all the Google trainers and coaches in the state. If you don't know, if you're not a Utahn and you haven't been to USET before, every year the demo slam has been going on since I believe 2017, run by Adam and Ian up in Ogden School District. And for the last few years, we've had the same champion every year, as far as I understand, right? Deanna, you've done this a little bit.
Yeah.
It's Pam Turley from Nebo, right?
Yeah, Pam. Yeah.
And this year, someone else took the trophy away, which I'm excited about. So for the next about 20 minutes, we're going to walk you through the different presentations. We're going to watch the videos. We'll see how many we get through, and we might have to jump straight to the winner. But I want to make sure we get to Kelly's video for sure, because she did an amazing job on it. Mine, we're going to skip right over. It's totally cool. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and jump into our first one, which is, first of all, a couple rules. So the video must use Google Tools, must be less than 2 minutes in length, which I think a few people broke that rule. I don't know about you, Deanna. I remember there being a few that were way over that.
Yeah, they were.
Video must include a brief introduction of the person and conclude with the word slam, either, and I learned this at the slam this year, either virtually on the video or in the room. So that's kind of fun. So our first video this evening is from Adam McMickle, one of our GEGUtah members, the original founder way back in 2016, 2017 of GEGUtah. He is a Ogden School District Director of Student Achievement. He's got his information up here, so if you're interested in contacting him after this. He's level 1, level 2 Google trainer and Google innovator. I forget which group he was in. I think it was London, but I'm not 100% on that. And then he's also an ISTE certified educator. So let's jump into his video right here. Here we go.
All of you, I love to collaborate using Google tools.
Hey, Matt. We're not hearing the sound right now.
You're not hearing the sound right now.
No.
Rutro. Okay, just a second. We're going to see if I can fix this really quick. While I'm doing that, Deanna, tell us your favorite thing about Google Slides. Go.
My favorite thing about Google Slides. I like the fact that with the Google Slide, you can use not only the slide deck itself, but also the blank space that's on the side to create some interactive tools that you can use with your students. So you can think of it as a multi-layer tool to use with kids. You don't have to think it as just a presentation tool. So like if you wanted to do like a 10 frame and have your kids come up with math problems, you could put the 2 different colored circles stacked on each side and then put them in. So
I think we've got it. Thank you, Deanna. That was perfect. That was like perfectly timed as well. Let's see if I got it now. Let me know if we hear it.
Okay.
Like all of you, I love to collaborate using Google tools. And I'm always looking for those new features that will improve the way I communicate with my colleagues. But when I think about the things that make the biggest difference for me, it's not the features that stand out and draw your attention. It's often the subtle changes that improve my daily actions that are the most meaningful for me. And with that, I'm Adam McMickle, proudly representing Ogden School District, and I welcome you to my demo slam about some new subtle features Google has included in Docs and Sheets that can improve your collaboration. So let's get started in 3, 2, 1. The other day, I found myself in the middle of a normal office conversation about the popularity and influence of holiday characters. So like normal people, the group of us, we turn to Google Trends to capture some data to substantiate our arguments. We then transfer that data into a spreadsheet, and we also open up a Google Doc to capture instances of popular media related to these characters. All normal things for people to do in the office. While I was in here, I then started thinking, what are some tools I can use to better collaborate as we dive deeper and deeper into the popularity of these holiday characters? In our Google Doc, we've forgotten some data, so we're going to use the @ symbol to add to that. So my contributor here can do @ She knows that I did this, so she'll just select me from that menu. It gives me the little smart chip. Hover over that, it's going to give me information, which means I can interact with that data right there. Same with the date. I'm going to go ahead and hit @ I can do search. So I scroll down, I can see I can add date. I add date. We did that yesterday. Now we have that. We can even create that as a Google Calendar Meet. As far as the data goes, you can add files using that @ symbol right in a Google Doc. It's a nice contribution feature. However, even if you grab a URL, so let's say we grab that URL from our document and I paste that in, I'm going to have that smart prompt to hit tab, and that's going to give me that smart chip for that particular doc. Now onto some meeting notes. We're all having a meeting as to why we're not joining the USET event live. And we're going to click on that meeting notes, click that event, and it's going to create the building blocks for some meeting notes and attach it nicely to that particular calendar event already ready to go, done, easy collaboration. Moving on to the Google Sheet. Down here, we're going to make that assignment. I can use that @ symbol again to assign someone to monitor that Utah data, and that chip's in there as well. I also notice another feature. There's something wrong with the data. Instead of going into version history, I can just right click, show edit history. I have an interactive piece, shows right in the cell who edited that cell. Coming back to the document, I can do something similar to that edit in cell feature. I can right click. I notice something has changed here. Instead of going to the version history, I right click, show editors, and it's going to give me that interactive pop-up to see who has edited text. It can be a single word, it can be a paragraph. And those are some subtle features that will help you be more effective and efficient in Docs and Sheets. Slam.
What a great little video. I absolutely love the slam at the end, but also like that idea of using the smart chips in that way with authorship and editors. I would have never caught that.
Well, and I like the fact that you could go in there and see a version history without having to do the whole thing. You can just see who changed something on your document. So that's great. Are we ready for our next one?
Absolutely. Let's go ahead. Here's Deanna. Do you want to introduce this one for us?
Yeah, this is Quinn Henderson. He's the educational lead and podcast host for the Future Design School. He's a Google certified educator, level 1 and 2, a trainer, as well as a certified innovator. So Let's see what he has.
Check this out. With this controller, your character will mimic your exact motions. See?
Sweet.
Now throw me a pitch, just like we're outside.
Want to get away? Now you can.
Hi, everybody. Quinn Henderson here, and I bet you're thinking about summer and how you want to get away. And how are you going to do it with these crazy gas prices? Let me show you my favorite tip and trick and Google tool to help you do that. And that's flights.google.com. So I'm going to go there, land on the site, and you're going to be tempted to jump in and add a destination right away. Don't do that. Go over here to the left side, click on Explore. We're going to set up a couple of things here. Select your nearest airport, mine's Salt Lake City, where I'm going to leave that open. Round trip, I want to make sure that I have a way to be able to get back. I'm going to pay attention to this box below that departing and that destination city. So when I click on that, I can make sure that it's on flexible dates. 1 week trip in the next 6 months. I can select all, or I can zero in saying June's going to be the best time for me to get away. And I want to get away for a week. When I do that, that's going to give me the best prices for all of the destinations that are in that map view. We can even zoom out to the whole world if we want and go out of the country. So we can see we get $233 to Orlando round trip, $341 to New York, or $158 to Denver. But I like this one, $86 to Los Angeles. I can't drive from Ogden to Provo for $86 right now. Over in the information window, I can click on Los Angeles. I see that it's June 2nd through the 8th. That's a great time. And that it's Spirit Airlines, nonstop, hour and 58 minutes. When I click on that, it's going to take me over to start to book those flights. And I can select the departing flight and the return flight, great times on those flights. And then I can go ahead and book it either right through Google, or I can jump over to Spirit Airlines. So that's my tip on how to get away this summer using the Google tool of flights.google.com. We'll see you when you get back.
Slam!
That was another great one. Hey, I like that tip. I wish I would have had that in January when we were going to Florida before when we were planning our trip.
100%. Did anybody else cringe at the baseball zooming at you?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Great.
I think that's
All right, Kelly, do you
perfect.
want to introduce our next one for us?
Oh, sure. All right.
Let me get it up there for you.
All right, this one is Pam Turley from Nebo School District. And as far as I know, Pam has been the reigning champion for a while. So this video is pretty impressive.
Hi, did you know you could attach some collaborative notes to a meeting scheduled in Google Calendar? First, find the Google Calendar icon in your app chooser. Click on Create to create a new event. Title the event. Add a guest or two. Scroll down and add an attachment. So take you to your Google Drive where you can find a pre-made agenda or meeting notes. Select the Google Doc and insert it into your calendar event. Save and send. You may have to change the permissions on your Google Doc that you attached if you want other people to collaborate. Bing! Oh wait, that was the old slow way of doing it. Let's rewind and try again. Do you want to save some clicks? Create a new event without even opening your calendar by typing cal.new in your Omnibar. There's my new event. I'm going to title it, invite some guests. And if I scroll down here where the notes are, I can click on Create Meeting Notes. Notice my meeting notes were automatically created, and the document will be created and shared with all guests, including those outside your organization. What if you want to access those meeting notes later? Instead of searching for the document in your drive, why not just search your calendar? I'm going to search for my very fun meeting. Found it right here. And here is a link to the notes from the meeting. The Google document contains the date and name of the meeting and a name chip for each of the attendees at the meeting with various ways to contact them, a place for notes, and also action items.
Sorry, now I'm giggling at the end part of that. That was fantastic.
Yeah, me too. I forgot.
Some of these endings are just fantastic. They're just funny and amazing. With that said, I think we're a little short on time here, so I'm going to skip a couple here. Let's go ahead and jump to this one. I'm going to introduce this one real quick. This is Sarah Eastman. She's an Ogden School District Digital Teaching and Learning Specialist. There's her email address. She is a educator, level 1, level 2, and a certified trainer. And I do know that she is working on Coach right now, which I'm very excited for her as well. So let's go ahead and jump into her demo slam.
It seems as though you're doing much better. Yes. Your paranoia is definitely under control since you came to understand happy premise number 1.
Happy premise number 1, there are no aliens.
Happy premise number 2.
Happy premise number 2, there is no giant foot trying to squash me.
Happy premise number 3.
Happy premise number 3, even though I feel like I might ignite, I probably won't.
So what do we do?
Keep it together. Keep it together, keep it together, keep it together, keep it together, keep it together.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the USET 2022 Demo Slam. We're going to talk about keeping it together with Google Keep. All right, everyone, get ready to learn how to keep it together with Google Keep. Let's give you a tour. Google Keep is a set of virtual sticky notes so that no longer will your desk be cluttered and sticky notes flying all over the place. You can keep them in one nice, neat area right here on your desktop. Over here on the left is how you can organize your notes based on labels that you create, items you've moved in the archive or the trash, and reminders you'd like to set for yourself. You can also search through your notes by keywords to pull up notes that you've created for easy search. Over here, you can refresh, toggle between list view and tile view, and enable different settings such as the dark theme if you're feeling in the mood. I am not. Let's go back. When you create a note, you have the option to add a title and some text. You may use checkboxes. You can add a note with a drawing or insert an image here. We're going to discuss why cats rule the world. Cats are great snugglers, minimal eaters, and they do not make a mess. I would like to turn this into a checkbox so that I can know when I convince people of the truth. I'd also like to add an image here. I'm going to choose that cute kitty to really prove my point. And I'm going to make this note purple because my cat notes are all purple on my dashboard. I would also like to nest this note under the cat's label so that I can access it easily in the future. That label is here. The other great feature about notes is that I can take all my keep notes and add them to a Google Doc. You just simply find the note you would like to insert and insert it right into the doc. That will come in use when you are in meetings. That's all I have to show you about Google Keep. Don't forget, cats rule the world.
I do what I gotta do.
Oh, that Shaq gif every time. I remember sitting in the presentation you said it, and I was like, that is the greatest gif I've ever seen in my life.
I just want to say meow at the end of that one.
I know. But I love Google Keep. She did a great job showing the new features of that. It's great.
Absolutely. All right, Miss Deanna, you want to take our next one here?
Well, sure. Who do we got coming up? Oh, Ian Davey. He's a member of our GEG leadership team. He's digital teaching and learning specialist with Ogden School District. Level 1, level 2 certified educator with Google, Google trainer, and innovator, as well as being ISTE certified. So let's let Ian's presentation shown now.
You know, it really is true. A normal old Google Doc can tend to feel a little stale over time, outdated even. Dare I say, boring. And this is really because the idea of a Google Doc is built on an old, antiquated idea. The idea that you will, at some point, fully bake your idea from the digital space and eventually print this thing that you've typed up. Well, we at USET are greener than that. We think forward, not backward. Stale bread doesn't get wasted. Here, it gets made into bread pudding. Luckily, Google agrees too. It turns out that I really loaf the updates that Google pushes out. It's one of the things about the Google tools that gets me up in the morning. It's just great knowing that the tools are always improving. You can trust me, this update is going to change your life. Now, let's quit loafing around and try it out. So you're going to start by finding a Google Doc that you already have. I have one 2-page Google Doc here. You can see the split there in the middle. And what you're going to do is we're going to move up to File Options, and we're going to move down to Page Setup. When you click on Page Setup, we're going to ignore all of this here because this has a basis in print. We're living in the web these days, and so we're going to move up to the top, and we're going to click on Pageless. From here, you do have the option to change the background color if you'd like. I'm going to keep it at white right now. And if this is something you're going to be doing often, consider setting it as your default. And once you're ready, click OK. You'll notice that it's going to automatically remove that page view completely. You now have a document that completely lives in the cloud. And you can do a couple things here with the text width. For example, this one, I'm going to maybe change it to a medium or something like that. You can also add in some other things. I'm going to add in an image in this case. You can play around with this because you'll notice you don't have to worry about things like margins because you're not printing it anymore. So consider some of the fun things that you can do with that. And keep in mind that you're not limited by that 8.5 by 11 that we maybe traditionally would use when we're creating Google Docs. Pageless Google Docs.
Best thing since sliced bread. I know.
Well, no surprise there. It blew all of our minds collectively. That was our Demo Slam winner this year, and Ian very happily walked away with the trophy.
Yeah, he deserved it. It was like mind blown.
Oh yeah, so versatile. I didn't even know it was there.
Yeah. Such a simple tool addition that makes a ton of possibilities open up for classroom use, for communicating with parents, communicating with the community. Just it's an amazing little add-on, and so of course he won. And sadly we couldn't watch everyone's videos. Kelly, we skipped over yours because we're running out of time, and we skipped over mine and a few other people's, but we're going to put the presentation up on the GEGUtah group. So if you're interested in watching all the videos or sharing them around, we're going to be putting that over hopefully in the next 24 hours and get that up and shared out with everyone. So with that, oh, go ahead, Deanna.
Just one thing, I think our viewers would be curious to see what Kelly did hers on, Matt, what you did yours on.
Go ahead, Kelly. What did you do yours on?
Oh yeah. So where I teach, I have, well, in general, we have a lot of population in Utah that are English language learners, what do they call it? MLLs now, multi-language learners. And so I wanted a way to be able to communicate with them. And so I found a lot of tips and tricks to use Google Translate. And so if you are interested in ways to translate documents quickly or to be able to talk with parents and students, then you should definitely watch mine.
And mine was on just one of my favorite Google experiments, which if you don't know Google experiments, check those out. They're mind-blowing, some of them. But it was on one called Pollinator Pathways, which is building a garden that is specifically designed around bugs and having pollinators in your garden. And it actually builds your garden based on your soil type and like your region. And it's just a fun, meditative little thing that I think a lot of teachers, especially in the sciences, could have some fun with students, especially if you have an outdoor space. You could maybe even take that and plan out a garden at your school, which would be cool.
Those both
Um,
sound like fun. I'm excited to watch them, find out about them.
Absolutely. And next year, we always have the Google Slam at USET. So next March, if you are thinking about it and you want to join in, we'll put out an announcement on the GEGUtah group. But also, we would like you to be a Google trainer. So if you're interested in that, feel free to contact anyone in GG leadership. We can point you in the right direction. But also, we might have some announcements down the way on that as well, helping you out get your trainer. With that said, two quick announcements. One is, if you haven't seen the link that's been scrolling at the bottom, make sure you check out our newsletter, smore.com/6WF2V. That has everything, including this meeting and then also next month's meeting, which is on March 4th. It's Star Wars design thinking processing. It's going to be awesome. I'm so excited about next month's meeting. And then also just kind of a quick announcement. If you are in the region of Cedar City, you're going to go to Utah Rural Schools URSA conference this summer. GEGUtah will be there with an entire room, and Kelly and I are going to be doing a level 1 boot camp on the second day, all 4 sessions, walking you through everything you need to know for L1, L2, getting certified. And I've heard, Kelly, you haven't heard this yet, but apparently we have very prime space at the conference. So I'm very excited. It's going to be fun.
Oh, yeah. Please come and meet us in person, because we want to meet you in person.
Absolutely. And with that, folks, it is about 4:30. So GEGUtah Meetup is now going to transition over to our Utah Nearpod community meetup. So give us about 30 seconds and we'll get started with that.
Well, hello, Jenna. I can see you're on the screen here with me, but I'm not sure if you can hear me or not. You hear me? Yeah, we're good. All righty, perfect. Well, we wanted to, yeah, perfect. I'm Jamie Gardner from the Utah Education Network. I wanted to welcome everyone to the first Utah Nearpod Community Meetup, and thank Matt for letting us jump on to his GEGUtah meetup as well. So hopefully we have a few UNC, which is my short way of saying Utah Nearpod community members here, but also maybe some new members from GEGUtah. So we wanted to thank everyone for joining us today. Quick intro about me, and then I'll let Jenna introduce herself. So I'm a product manager for Nearpod for the Utah Education Network here in Utah, along with doing other, technical training things for UEN. But my role with Nearpod basically means that I try to keep everyone in the state up to date on things that are happening with Nearpod. I teach a couple of online courses, and I coordinate a lot with Jenna on things that are happening here in Nearpod. So I'll let Jenna go ahead and introduce herself as well.
Okay. Hi, I am Jenna Townsend. I'm the Customer Success Manager for all Nearpod and vocabulary accounts in the state of Utah. And what that means is I work with maybe your district, maybe your school, and I help make sure that you have all the support you need through training, user contests, all those fun things. And I do work very closely with Jamie as well. A little bit about myself. Up until this last November, I was with a Utah school district for 11 years as a teacher, an ed tech coach, and a digital teaching and learning specialist. So I'm happy to keep collaborating with Utah teachers.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Jenna. Yeah, we were super excited when Jenna took this role because she does have such a vast knowledge of Utah and technology in Utah, as well as Nearpod. So we're super excited to have her as our CSM on the Nearpod side. So just a few, I guess, announcements and maybe some background information on the group that we're putting together. As the Nearpod usage in Utah has grown, we just felt like there needed to be a community or a place where we could kind of get together and talk about Nearpod specific to Utah, kind of collaborate a little bit more, maybe share some videos, some training, some lessons, just really gather together all of you that are using Nearpod to make it more powerful for all of you as users. So that's kind of where this idea came from. We're just getting started. This is our very first virtual meetup, and we're hoping to have a virtual meetup every month or every other month, either online or an in-person meetup instead. So that's kind of what the roadmap's going to look like. A few, I guess, announcements we'd say before we jump in and do a little Nearpod at the end. We have to, of course, do a Nearpod. We can't leave a Nearpod meeting without doing a Nearpod. So those of you who took the survey in the welcome Nearpod that I sent out, just a few updates on the results from what we've seen so far from our group members and what they're looking for in this group. So about 80% of you wanted short pre-recorded videos highlighting tips and tricks in Nearpod. And so Jen and I, we're going to be on that. That's making those short videos, I think, will be helpful for everyone. We can use them in our own schools for our own personal training or to help train other educators. About 75% of you wanted an informal place to ask questions and get help. So next on the list, you'll be seeing a link to some kind of an online platform. We're thinking Google Groups would be a great place to host this, but we're still looking at a few other options. We just want to make sure that we have a place that works for everyone and will also grow with our group as more people find out about us and become involved. So short videos, an informal place to ask questions, top of the list. The third highest result from the survey was that 70% of you are interested in a monthly newsletter. So we're going to get on that as well. And you will see a newsletter coming out next week from us. We're hoping to include those tips and tricks videos, some spotlights of other educators across the state, and then just updates on new content or content that we think that will be helpful for you. So the last thing here was how many emails you want to receive every month. We know that we all love emails, but it looks like 1 or 2 is our sweet spot. So we're hoping to not overwhelm you with content and send out 1 or 2 emails a month. I'm thinking the newsletter will be one of those emails, and then maybe some kind of a content update or, you know, something just fun and engaging with Nearpod. So a few of you did say that you'd be happy to share a spotlight, which is perfect because nobody wants to always hear me on the training videos or giving tips and tricks. So I'll be reaching out to those of you who were interested in being a spotlight and showing us what you're doing in your classrooms. A lot of times that's where it's a little more difficult for me because I'm not in a classroom to be able to show content that's happening from within a classroom. So I'm hoping to reach out for some of you for that. And also, if you mentioned that you'd be interested in helping on the leadership side or with doing those spotlights, we have some opportunities for you this summer as we will be hosting a summer Nearpod webinar series. So I'm super excited about that. And I would love to get some of you involved in co-hosting those webinars or in just sharing maybe a short little video, one of those spotlight videos as part of our webinar. Okay, so that's kind of a recap of the survey. If you haven't had a chance yet to jump in and do that, welcome Nearpod and take the survey. Make sure you do that. I will make sure I put that link on our website, which right there is scrolling across the bottom. So how you find information about the Utah Nearpod community and Nearpod in Utah. UEN hosts a website that's uen.org/Nearpod. And really, that's going to be the easiest way for you to find all Nearpod related things for Utah. On that page is a link to our specific page for the Utah Nearpod community. But right now that is hosted on a Google site. So obviously that link's a lot longer than uen.org/Nearpod. So if you go there, you can get to our specific page on the Utah Nearpod community. Next on the agenda, I'm going to give Jenna just a second to talk about this. We have a special badge or sticker that's being made by Nearpod. So we'll let Jenna give a little shout out about that one.
Perfect. Put me on the spot there. That's
I
okay.
know, I'm sorry.
So Jamie came up with a great idea for all of us Utah Nearpod community members. There will be a digital badge customized for our user group and for Utah that you can put in your email signature, as well as actual physical stickers. And it is currently being designed. So we're going to do a sneak peek, but there are a couple tweaks we're going to make to it. So I don't have anything to show you yet. But yes, we will make sure you get out, unless we want to see the draft, Jamie.
Yeah, it's totally up to you. I think the draft, some of you may have seen before, unless Jenna has something new to show. It originally came back and it looked a little too similar to the Nearpod badges we already had. They just changed some wording. So I kindly asked for something that was a little more special, maybe is the word for our Utah Nearpod community. So it looks like a few people want to see it, but Jenna, if you want to share your screen, you can. Otherwise, we can just hold off and we'll be getting something out to you soon.
Yeah, well, you know what? I will say we're trying to get it to look like, you can see half of it right here, but I'm in the way, at least from my view. We can see the little delicate arches with the Nearpod. It's the shape of Utah, but just something to kind of get the word out that you are a Nearpod rock star. You're a part of this great community where we collaborate, and you can show that off on your laptop, on your planner, wherever you put your stickers.
Yeah, we love swag around here, and Nearpod seems to be really good at creating and handing out swag. So, and if you guys don't know this, I feel like we're a little bit special here in Utah because we are the only state, as far as I know, that has a statewide contract for Nearpod. So Nearpod is kind enough to like us and do a few extra things for us that they might not do for other states. Yes, we won't share that too far. So yeah, we're excited about that. Another exciting thing that's coming up is that we are going to be launching a Nearpod coaches course this summer. So if you are interested in becoming a Nearpod coach, then you will be able to take a class through UEN that will help you prepare for submitting your video to become a Nearpod certified coach. I believe this program used to be called a Nearpod certified trainer. So some of you may already be Nearpod certified trainers, but we're looking forward to having that course live on June 1st and getting some of you involved with that. Also, this summer or anytime, we still have the Nearpod beginner course and the Nearpod advanced course. And those two courses, if you're looking to become a Nearpod certified educator or an advanced certified educator, those courses will count for that as well. So excited to add another certification course to the list. And then I would say the last things to share here, unless Jenna has something else she wants to talk about, is just that this summer we will also be at URSA, and we are excited to be able to do an in-person meeting while we're there at URSA. So there will be an hour time slot that's devoted to the Utah Nearpod community, sharing some resources that are Nearpod specific, but just being able to get to know each other a little bit better and see, like what we all teach and what our specialties are, and be able to collaborate on some Nearpod standard aligned lessons and activities. So if you're going to be at URSA in Cedar City this summer, we would love to meet up with you there and see you there. Awesome. Jenna, you have anything else for us?
No, I think that is it. As it comes up, we will share with you. I will be all around the state of Utah at different points throughout the summer at various district conferences and other statewide conferences. And I really hope you come and say hello.
Yes, definitely. As we're out and about, definitely come up and introduce yourself. We'd love to get to know you better. I know that during, since so many of us have worked online or we weren't in school, we've never really met each other in person. And so it'd be great to be able to meet everyone. So that'd be awesome. Okay, so we have about 15 minutes of our meetup. And what I wanted to do was just share maybe a little survival guide of Nearpod activities for the rest of the school year. We always could use a few things here and there. And it looks like Matt's sharing my screen there. So you can see this. I will put this code up for you. And if you want to join the Nearpod, that'd be great. If you just want to watch, that's great also. I know sometimes online you're on your phones or you're just kind of kicked back enjoying yourself. And so you don't really want to join, but the screen should help you out there. So the code is XZDMI if you want to join. And what I like to do in a Nearpod, and this is maybe a little training tip as well, is that while people are joining your Nearpod, it's nice for them to have something to do. So I always try to put up some kind of an interactive activity first, so that they have, you know, a few things that they can be working on while everyone is trying to join, or if you're working with students while we're helping students to join. And on this first slide, I just wanted to point out some of the new features of the Collaborate board. And that is this cool new background. We've got lots of new backgrounds, but also there at the bottom, you have the option to add a few different types of media that maybe you weren't adding before. So that's kind of fun for our students. But our first tip here that I wanted to pass out for our survival guide goes along with what that first Collaborate board was. And that is just encouraging each other and our students to make it through the rest of the year. So Nearpod in their content library has some of these SEL warm-ups is what they're called. And they are just short, maybe 2 or 3 slides with an activity to, you know, promote kind of empathy towards each other, to give each other props for what's going on. So you can find those if you click on this link. It's a link to that content in Nearpod. But if you just search for SEL warm-up, you're going to find all of that content. And here in Utah, we actually have access to the social and emotional learning library, which is where these were found. So just a little thought, if you need to do a little bit of a temperature check with your class, a great resource for you. Next here is converting a quiz to a time to climb. So I love time to climb. I don't know, maybe I just am a kid at heart, but I think time to climbs are great. And for 2 reasons. One, that we are able to assess our students while they're playing a game during that gamification mode. And also because it gives them a little bit of a break from the norm of maybe preparing and reviewing for content, which is what we do so much at the end of the school year. So quick and easy way to convert a regular quiz to a time to climb. If you go into any of your lessons that you have created and you know there's a quiz in there, if you click on the quiz in your top toolbar in Nearpod, you are going to see that the link that says convert to time to climb, it's going to show up and it's going to be able for you to click on it. All you have to do is click on that link and it's going to take your quiz and turn it into a time to climb instead. So you have the option of replacing that quiz, or you have the option of just adding the time to climb, which I think is great. So take any of your lessons, click on your quizzes, convert those to time to climb. And then as a teacher, you launch your lesson and you just share that one slide and your students have a game. I think this works great for reviewing content. I also think that this just works great when your kids need a little bit of a break, but you don't want to have to dig through your Nearpod library to find maybe a new quiz or a themed quiz that's maybe, you know, content for everybody. You can just use content that you already have. So converting a quiz to a time to climb for either review or just to get you through the rest of the year. Okay, tip number 3 here are our virtual field trips. So Nearpod virtual field trips, here's one for you. So you should be able to just click and drag around this screen and move this image along. Bonus points to anyone who knows where this is. Jenna, you happen to know where this is? I gotta tell you, I have no idea where this is, but I thought it looked cool, so I added it in. So cool thing about virtual reality field trips, you can use any 360 cities image to and add it as a virtual field trip, you can take your own 360 images and upload those to 360 cities and add that as a virtual field trip. So lots of options here. But if you're looking for more than just a virtual field trip, maybe you want some content before where we're teaching our students about that specific virtual field trip, or you're looking for, maybe we like the outside of this, but we're curious what it looks like from the inside. There are, and I'm going to move you along, so don't get mad at me when I click the next button. This is a PDF connecting you to the virtual field trips in Nearpod. And these field trips, you can go to different college campuses across the country. Actually, I think there's a few in Europe as well. You have some explorations, the field trips, and then the ignites. And these are lessons. So it's not just the image that you're dropping out there, but there's some discussion questions and collaborate boards. And most of these field trips have multiple VR images inside of them. So your students can get the full experience. They can see maybe the outside of the Coliseum and the inside of the Coliseum. They can learn a little bit of the history of it. And it's the same way with the college tours, the Ignite sessions, all of those. So if you click on any of those links, you can be taken to the different VR tours. I think that's always fun with kids. They seem to enjoy exploring some lands that they've never seen before.
I'm going to interrupt you.
Yes,
I did the classic talking while my microphone was still on mute, but it looked an awful a lot like the Coliseum.
Ooh, perfect. Yes, call it the Coliseum. I should have known that that was what it was. I just decided to just drop that picture in without even thinking. So thank you, Jenna. All righty. Next up are the new drag and drops. And I think that Jenna probably has some more information about these because she is the one that alerted me to these new drag and drops. The one that I entered for you guys here, maybe let's go back and forth. Fingers crossed I put the right one in. Oh, let me go to my, I swear it was working before. So the drag and drop that I added was pencils. So we were measuring pencils. Hopefully you guys are seeing it and maybe it's just not showing up on my screen because I'm just getting kind of a draw screen here. But anyway, can you see it, Jenna?
Yes, if you're in the Nearpod, you can see it.
Oh, good. Okay. So I'll let Jenna talk a little bit more about the drag and drop activities that have been added to Nearpod.
Yes. So we have added, I want to say, I was trying to look up this number real quick. I want to say we have added over 500 new pre-made drag and drop activities that are standards aligned and represent a variety of content areas. The great thing about a drag and drop activity is you don't have to add it to a full Nearpod lesson. You can launch it as a standalone activity. And in addition, let's see here. Jamie, would you mind going to the, I think it is the blue arrow on the right. Oh no, because you're presenting. Let's pretend that Jamie was making her Nearpod. And I believe it's a gray arrow on the right. You can click that and expand a menu of those pre-made drag and drops when you are in Nearpod. So if you're making a lesson, activity type, drag and drop, there is an expandable menu on the right where you can search for a pre-made drag and drop activity right from within the lesson you are creating.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I did. I didn't create this drag and drop. I just, when I was creating this lesson, I went and searched. I think I just searched measurement maybe because I had seen this, cute pencil one, and that's how I found it. So I didn't create this, but the cool thing is you can edit it. So I could edit the instructions and I could edit the drag and drop a little bit. And at the end of the school year, a fun way to use the drag and drop would be to find a few that are related to your content and maybe make a game out of it where your students could, kind of compete with each other to see who can get it first or which group can get it first or how many people in each group or each side of the room can get the correct answers. So we're not necessarily basing it off of speed, but just off of getting the right answer. So you can kind of make it a little more fun by just adding that element to it. So yes, awesome.
I'm going to interject really quickly.
Yeah.
If you go back to teacher view, it works just like the draw it now, where again, you can see students who have submitted their final drag and drop answer. You can see students' work in progress, but you can also share a student's drag and drop screen anonymously with the rest of the class. And you can use this as an opportunity to ask a student to demonstrate their thinking, right? They can be dragging and dropping while doing a think aloud for the rest of the class.
Awesome. Yes, I love those drag and drop features. The other cool thing with that is that now you can also combine the drag and drop with the draw it. So you could have your students maybe drag some of the answers, but then add to it by also typing, you know, so maybe they're labeling and they drag and label maybe the cell correctly, but then they have to give two, you know, maybe 2 facts about each part as well by using those draw it features. So very cool. I love the new drag and drops. Okay, so last on our list here are brain breaks. I know that brain breaks were a big part of my classroom. I taught high school, and sometimes we all just needed to take a deep breath, especially, you know, my classes were about an hour and 20 minutes long, and high school students, you'd think their attention span gets better as they get older. It does not at all. So brain breaks. The first brain break that I wanted to add here, and I'm going to allow you to play this all on your own devices, is a video from Flocabulary. Now, I love the Flocabulary videos because they are so fun. And we know from experience that students learn well when it's a song. It's why all of our early nursery rhymes, we can still remember them now. Our ABCs, if you teach 4th grade, the county songs. Yes, my children have taught me the county song. Yeah, I can still sing them all. But hopefully you're all playing this little video on your own. But the Flocabulary videos, I think would be fun for any age of kids. Find a video that talks about whatever your topic is. Let your students play that. I recently saw, I think it was a TikTok where a teacher had a song that he would play, and if an adult would walk in the room or just at any time during the day when his kids needed a little break, he'd turn on the song and everyone had to stand up and dance. So I think using the Flocabulary videos in a little bit different way could give our students a bit of a brain break. The last thing here is just back to that Collaborate board or to the VR field trips. That's another good one. But here on this Collaborate board, you now have, this is another fun background, but I've limited it so you can only add a GIF. And I've put columns in as well. So when your kids just need a laugh, when you just need a bit of a break as well, allowing your kids to post GIFs, we know they love it. So make a fun board out of it and have them categorize things or have them just add funny memes for each other. So cat and dog GIFs, babies, they always seem to get everyone smiling.
And this has actually come up quite a bit lately. As with image searches through Nearpod, we do utilize Google's Safe Search feature.
Yes, perfect. And even with the new Collaborate boards, you can still approve before people add. So that's a huge plus. You can approve before they add. And if you turn on the comment feature, not only can our teachers like each other's posts, but they can now comment on each other's posts. So this makes it really more of a collaboration than just a kind of pin board. So fun little tip there. So last on here is just our resources. So if you're looking for those links to the words of encouragement or videos on how to convert a quiz to a time to climb, anything that was shown today, here is a little resource for you. Now, and you guys might do this different. We're running out of time, so I'm going to be really quick, but I like to add my resources as a PDF document. And the reason I do this is because if your older students are using the notes feature in Nearpod and they are having the notes downloaded to their drives, If you add your links as a PDF document, then your students can open that in the notes and they can download that on their own and have access to all of those links. So I try to put a PDF document at the end of most of my Nearpods with just links to all of the resources that were shared throughout the Nearpod. And that's what you have here. So just a little final tip there. All righty, so that's it for today's meetup. I want to thank everyone for joining us today. Look forward to meeting all of you in person and getting to know you better. Thanks to Matt and his GEG group for letting us join with them today as well. I hope some of you were able to join in on their meeting and learn more about Google. Jenna, do you have any last words for our fun group here?
I don't know. I was just getting caught up on the comments, and it looks like a lot of people were calling out Rome for that VR.
Rome,
field trip.
perfect.
Yep.
I need to maybe take a visit there, and then I would have seen it right away. But perfect. Thanks so much, everyone, for joining us. This was recorded, so we will make sure that we pass this along in our newsletter. So keep an eye out for that. Thanks, everyone, for coming.